Hey, what is going on, guys? This is DK back at you with another video here to break down the showdown slate Sunday night between Pittsburgh and New England. So let's jump right into it. Hopefully, this showdown slate goes better than the Thursday night because, man, that was really ugly. I honestly think that was the ugliest game or ugliest showdown slate ever. That was just one to forget for sure. So this one should be better here between Pittsburgh and New England. Should be more high scoring for sure. So let's jump into trying to break this down. So let's start with the Pittsburgh side of things first. So at the top here, you got Juju. Obviously, Antonio Brown out of town. That's good news for Juju. He's the number one receiver. He had a breakout year last year. New England's defense is nothing to be too scared about. Again, this over/under is about 49.5 right now. So pretty high over/under. So yeah, Juju really have no issues with him. And then right below him, you got James Conner, who I do like a good amount here, just because Pittsburgh, they love working their number one back. Like, they'll just run him into the ground. They rarely ever use the backup. So James Conner should be out there for most of the game, which is really good. And he's a good PPR back too. So all in all, you can't go wrong with Juju or James Conner. I like them both at the top end here. And then you got Big Ben right below him. So quarterbacks. In really high over/under games, I like targeting both. This one's getting there. I mean, it's close to 50, so it's pretty high over/under. So you can definitely consider pairing both Big Ben and Tom Brady. So yeah, I mean, the issue is how much upside do they really have? Like, Brady's getting up there in age. He does have good receivers now with Edelman, Josh Gordon, and AB, but Antonio Brown will not be active tonight. And then Big Ben, you got Juju, you got James Conner. Moncrief, James Washington. So he's got some good targets. I have no issue here. I think there's a value guy I'll talk about in a sec that basically makes it so you can get a lot of guys you want in your lineup. So I think Big Ben, definitely worth consideration here. And then we get to kind of the mid-tier range. Dante Moncrief. So he's going to be the number 2 right now for Pittsburgh. He's a guy that was sneaky good for Indy when healthy a few years ago. He's kind of been battling with some injuries, but now he's fully healthy. All the reports are he's looking good in camp. He's the number 2 receiver. So, Pittsburgh offense is a pretty high-powered offense. So Moncrief, I definitely like him here in the mid-tier range. Vance McDonald, I think, is okay at 6K. This report does worry me a bit that, McDonald's not going to see a significant increase in playing time. He had a decent year last year. He had a couple big games, but he wasn't out there for the whole game. That was the issue, and they said they kind of want to keep it that way. So that concerns me a bit with Vance McDonald, but he does have upside. He had 1 or 2 big games last year. And then James Washington at 5K. So he's going to be the number 3 receiver. He had a really good preseason, a breakout preseason. And yeah, Pittsburgh, they do running some 3 wide receiver sets. So I think James Washington, is solid here at 5K. Jaylen Samuels, again, Pittsburgh, they really like just working running back most of the game. Samuels is a good change of pace PPR back, but I just don't see him getting enough touches to warrant consideration. They got Ryan Switzer. He's probably going to play in the slot a bit. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with James Washington. Ryan Switzer is Switzer going to get most of the time in the slot, or are they maybe going to use James Washington in the slot a bit? So it's going to be interesting to see how kind of Pittsburgh goes about it. I think I would stay away from Switzer. Just don't see a lot of upside there. And then the kickers. Don't forget about the kickers. Chris Boswell, again, this game should be pretty high scoring. So, kickers, they do make it so you can get some other guys in your lineup. So don't forget about them. The Steelers defense, I think, is okay at 3.6K. But again, this game should be a little more high scoring. So not too high in them. And then below that, there's really not a whole lot for me to consider. So let's move on to New England here. So we'll start at the top with Tom Brady, the most expensive at 10.2 for New England. I think he's solid. A guy that doesn't have huge upside on his, his best game last year was 32. So really doesn't flash huge upside. But I think, again, a game that's should be pretty high scoring. I think he's in consideration. As far as playing both quarterbacks, it's a little tricky. I would definitely play probably 1. 2, you definitely you could play 2 as well if you can get enough value in there. Edelman. So for game 1, Edelman is valuable because Antonio Brown's not going to be out there. So it's going to be Edelman and Josh Gordon as the top 2 receivers. Edelman, the PPR guy in the slot. This guy, has some pretty big upside. Pittsburgh's defense, not scared of them. So I think Edelman at 9.6 is pretty solid. The running back situation, a little trickier. So obviously Sony Michel's the number 1. But the Patriots have shown you can really never trust what they're going to do with running backs because they have Rex Burkhead, they have Damian Harris, they have James White. So they have a lot of running backs they can use. 8K for Michel, I think is okay, but it just scares me that they have so many backs, and Belichick does like kind of filtering through the backs. So I might take a wait-and-see approach. Probably going to fade Michel here, but I understand it if you want to go there. Josh Gordon, the cheaper of the 2 between Edelman and between him and Edelman, by a good amount too at 7.4K. Obviously, is a little unproven. Well, not really unproven, but he hasn't been with the team for a while, I guess. At 7.4K, I think he's definitely in play as a solid mid-tier guy. James White. So again, kind of the same thing with my analysis of the Bears running backs last time. It was Montgomery was a little safer with Tariq Cohen with more upside. I kind of feel like the same here. Michel should get the most more work out of all these backs, so I feel like he's the safest, but James White has a little bit more upside because he's going to be in there for PPR situations, third downs. So I think James White has a little more upside, but is a little bit riskier. So as far as the number 3 receiver, they don't have Antonio Brown right now. Demaryius Thomas is questionable, and the reports right now is they might, err on the side of caution and hold him out. So this is pretty big news. If he's out, I'm guessing it's going to be Jakobi Meyers as the number 3 guy. Now, Jakobi Meyers was really good in the preseason, so I'd assume they go with him. They still have Dorsett too, but I'd assume it would be Meyers. This is a situation we have to keep an eye on. If Demaryius is out, Jakobi Meyers definitely would be a solid option here at 4.2K. That's a cheap guy you can get in your lineup. Or you could go to Philip Dorsett here. Again, I'm going to take a wait-and-see approach, or not really a wait-and-see approach, but see what they say about who's going to be the number 3 receiver, see if we get any reports. So, yeah, I think Dorsett or Jakobi Meyers would both be solid options if there's no Demaryius Thomas. So Demaryius Thomas plays as 4.6K. I think he's definitely worth consideration, but the injury would worry me a bit. Patriots D at 4.4. Again, I think is okay, but I think there's probably better options. Don't forget about the kicker too, Gostkowski at 3.4K. And then finally, the tight end situation for New England. So there's no Ben Watson. The next guy is Matt LaCroix, and they're saying he's probably going to be out. So this would be pretty big. If he's out too, the only healthy tight end they have is Ryan Izzo. So let's go down to Ryan Izzo here at $200. Now, playing the cheap tight end in the showdown slate between Green Bay and Chicago didn't really work out last time, but that game was just so ugly. This game should not be like that. This game should be way more high scoring. So, and if he's the only tight end, then Ryan Izzo is definitely, a value guy you have to consider because he would just open up so much. So if LaCroix's out, Ryan Izzo would be the only tight end, and he's a guy that in the preseason actually, does have some pass catching ability. So $200, like literally, put him in there. You don't even have to put him in the captain. Put him in the flex, and you have 90, almost 10,000 remaining. You could get almost whoever you want here in this lineup. So I like Ryan Izzo quite a bit, as a value play if Matt LaCroix is out. So I would definitely lean towards getting him in your lineup because he would just open up so much. And then also the other value plays would be Jakobi Meyers and Philip Dorsett, as those guys would all also open up some value plays here if there's no Demaryius Thomas. So I do like kind of getting Ryan Izzo in there if there's no Matt LaCroix. As far as captain goes, quarterbacks, I never really go with the quarterback unless it's going to be like a super, super high scoring game. Big Ben and Tom Brady I think are okay, but I think there's probably better options. Guys with big upside that I like in the captain spot are Juju, James Conner, Edelman, and let's see. James White would be a little riskier, but I could see why you'd want to go there. Josh Gordon, obviously, there's a little risk there. Yeah, I like kind of getting a top tier guy in my captain as of right now, but also something to consider. Throw Ryan Izzo in there at captain, and that even opens up even more probably. So let's see if we put him in captain. Then yeah, you have 9,900, and you don't have to throw a captain there, which will eat up some salary. So that would open up even more for you. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts with the showdown slate. I won't be live streaming before lock, but I will be active on Twitter once we get news about the tight end situation as well as Demaryius Thomas. So there are a couple in big injury news we're waiting for. It's Demaryius Thomas. It's Matt Lacoste. Lacoste, I think that's it. I don't even know. I thought it was LaCroix, Lacoste. But yeah, those two are the big injury news we're waiting on, because that could open up a lot of value. So yeah, that's kind of all we're waiting on. On the Pittsburgh side, I really don't think we're waiting on anything injury-wise. Yeah, no. So yeah, that's basically it, guys. If you have been enjoying the content so far, I'd really appreciate if you would like this video and subscribe if you haven't. If you have any questions, you can please leave in the comment section down below. It's also important to follow me on Twitter. Again, I'll give my thoughts as we get the injury news. So really important to follow me on Twitter. It's just DK__DFS. And yeah, I'll be back for another video, a breakdown of the showdown slate on Monday. So I will see you guys then.